underdog. And then Jacksonville, the Jaguars get back to work today down at the Miller Electric Center to get ready for the Minnesota Vikings, a Jaguar team that finds themselves at 2-7 on the year against a Viking team that's one of the best teams in the NFC, coming in at 6 wins and 2 losses. But we'll spend a lot of time on the Jaguars tonight. My buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every day on prime time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk to Leon about the game last week in Philadelphia, get his thoughts on the game coming up against Minnesota, the return of Cam Robinson. Right, Cam Robinson was a Jaguar 10 days ago. The last time, in fact, the Jaguars played at home against Green Bay, Cam Robinson was a Jaguar. And now he's the starting left tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. So we'll talk to Leon Searcy about that dynamic and about everything coming up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, Mark Wise of ESPN talking a little college hoops with us in the 9 o'clock hour. Florida off to a good start after a victory over USF. UNF off to a good start after a big victory over South Carolina. Both teams right back on the court tomorrow for game number 2 of their respective seasons. So we'll talk to Mark Wise of ESPN coming up about all of that later on in tonight's program. But glad you're with us here on a Wednesday night. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, so I'm going to take Florida State out of the equation for a moment because their coach isn't on the hot seat. Even though, Florida State fans, I do realize that you would love to have Mike Norvell on the hot seat amidst a 1-8 start to this year. That's just not reality. No way, no how is Mike Norvell on the hot seat. I don't believe he deserves to be on the hot seat. But Florida and the Jaguars, and we talked about this last night, interesting parallels. Both coaches are on the hot seat. Billy Napier in Gainesville, Doug Peterson with the Jaguars. And both have interesting quarterback situations, right? You got Florida with DJ Lagway. Now, when he was carted off last week here at the cocktail party, you would have to assume that he was probably gone for the year. But that appears not necessarily to be the case. There is a chance DJ Lagway could potentially play maybe the last game or 2 of this season. The question is it worth putting DJ Lagway back out there? Lost season, lost cause. Most of you want Billy Napier gone anyway. Do you want your true freshman star quarterback to go out there to rehab vigorously to get out there for the last 2 games, which could be kind of meaningless, right? And when it comes to the Jaguars, kind of the same thing. Now, the big difference is obviously Trevor and the contract and getting paid what he's getting paid, being a professional athlete as opposed to a collegiate athlete, but the point is still the same. Trevor's sore shoulder was limited in practice today. The Jaguars just happened to go out and get C.J. Beathard and bring him back here to go with Mac Jones. I would assume in the event that Trevor can't go against Minnesota on Sunday. Now, look, if the Jaguars were 6-3 or 5-4 and in the thick of the playoff race, maybe you throw Trevor out there if he's not 100%. But at 2-7, not going anywhere, no playoffs in the future, no division championship on the horizon, do you maybe sit Trevor? The issue there is that Doug Peterson knows he needs to win games. And not having Trevor Lawrence would not be a good look when it comes to winning games for Doug Peterson. By the way, Doug Peterson did meet the media earlier today. We'll bring you a thought or two from Doug. Likewise, Trevor coming up here in just a moment. What do you do as far as balancing needing to win if you're on the hot seat and playing quarterbacks that might not be 100%? Issue in Florida with the Gators with Billy Napier and DJ Lagway. Same thing here in Jacksonville when it comes to Doug Peterson and to Trevor Lawrence. And that brings me back to Jacksonville for just a moment. 2-7, 8 games to go. No playoffs. We know that. We understand that. That's not going to happen. It's been a lost season. Unfortunately, there are still 8 games to go. So my question is, what are we looking for in these last 8 games? What do we want to see? Well, you want to see continued improvement from Trevor Lawrence, although you're getting kind of tired of saying that, or at least I am. We are 3.5 years in. I'm not sure if we need to see continued growth from a 25-year-old that just signed a $500 million contract. That hay's kind of in the barn. But I think there is reason to get excited to watch these games because of Tank Bigsby. There is reason to get excited to watch these games because of Brian Thomas Jr. If they decide to use Brenton Strange, which for some reason they did not last week, there is some reason to get excited about him. Ventrell Miller on the defensive side, Jarian Jones on the defensive side. To me, that's what these last 8 games are about. It's about the young guys, man. Now, I want to see Trevor perform well, and you know, if Evan Ingram does great, well, that's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. But I want to see more from Brian Thomas, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, Parker Washington. Defensively, Jarian Jones, Ventrell Miller, Miles Cole. Maybe, I don't know, the second-round pick Mason Smith could get out there and see what he's got. Jordan Jefferson. These next 8 games are going to be a good blueprint for the young guys to get a lot of reps so that we have a better understanding as to what the Jaguars have going into 2025. And perhaps maybe if we have a better understanding as to what they have, or in some instances do not have, we can garner a better opinion on the team than what we all did this past training camp. Because again, I don't know about you, but I've already said, me personally, I don't think I've ever been more wrong about a Jaguar team. I am stunned that they're 2-7 and they're as bad as they are. Stunned. And by the way, 2-7 is about to get a lot worse. With games against the 6-2 Vikings, the 7-1 Lions, and the 6-3 Texans on the horizon. It's about to get a lot worse. But that's what these next 8 games are about. Are they about saving Doug Peterson's job? Are they about wins? Honestly, to me, that's not what I'm looking for. We're getting dangerously close to the point where winning games is a bad thing. To me, it's about watching the young guys. And I'm excited about doing that for the next 8 weeks. Doug Peterson met the media earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. He had a lot to say, including the aspect of coaching and the approach you have to have when you're just not seeing results out there on the game field.
I think that comes through my approach to them on Mondays. You know, from a head coach's perspective, I need to show them and talk to them in a way that is accountability, right? Ownership. Do your job, do it better, do the little things. I got to show that in a team setting, bring it to light, and just show the guys, like, listen, this is what's holding us back right now.
Well, there are so many things holding this team back, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I applaud the coach for saying that you want to show them, you want to teach them, you know, that's fine. But, I mean, you've been the coach here for 43 games? It looks awfully similar to what we've seen in the last 43 games. It's like Groundhog Day. They will go 3 and out their first offensive drive in either the first quarter or the third quarter if they defer. That's going to happen. And why is that going to happen? Because that's the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. It's what they do. They have to be the worst team I maybe ever seen. from the Jaguar point of view, starting off games. Even Gardner Minshew and those awful teams in 19 and 20, to me, started off games better than this year's team does. This year's team is terrible starting off games. Just awful. And, when I hear Doug talking there, I like Doug. I think he's a good coach. You don't have a Super Bowl ring without being a good coach. I just think for whatever reason it's not working here. Whether it's the loyalty to Press Taylor, whether it's stubbornness, the message isn't resonating. I don't know what it is. It's something, right? It's got to be something at this point because they're 3-12 in their last 15. There's something wrong. But I do feel bad because I wish it would work out here for Doug, but it just doesn't not appear that that's going to be the case. Trevor, it'll be the case because he signed that contract. He's here for the long haul. Going back to my original point, do you play Trevor this week if he's 75, 80%? You're a 2-7 football team going nowhere. Do you put a quarterback out there that's not fully healthy? Trevor Lawrence met the media today as well. He was asked about hoping to play this Sunday amidst a sore shoulder.
Yeah, still a little sore today. I mean, not much different than other weeks, but this point in the year, yeah, still dealing with a little soreness, so hopefully we can get that flushed out throughout the week.
Are you good to play this week?
That's the goal. I'm doing everything I can to be out there. Like it's in the past when I've gotten banged up in the past. I just try to do everything I can during the week to prepare myself to play Sunday and just put as much time as possible into that and getting healthy. So that's the way my mind is right now.
Trevor's a guy that loves to compete, right? No one's ever going to say any different about that. Remember last year? The concussion, the shoulder, the knee, the ankle. I mean, Trevor was beat to hell last year. And he played every game except the Carolina game. Most weeks without practicing. So, I mean, no one's ever going to question the toughness of Trevor Lawrence. But last year, they were in the thick of a playoff hunt. They were in the battle, right? Now, it didn't work out for them at the end, but they were there. And when you're in the thick of a playoff hunt, your guys got to play, including your franchise quarterback. At 2-7, I don't know. I think there's probably a little bit more of a discussion there if he's not 100%. Because, again, for Doug Peterson, obviously it matters. For Trent Baalke, it matters. But for you, the fans, and probably quite honestly us in the media, dangerously close to wins being a bad thing. What you don't want to happen, to me, in my opinion, if you want change here, if you're at the point where you want change, you want different people in charge, then you don't want Jacksonville winning 4 out of 5 to end the year because that'll give false sense of hope. That'll say, oh, you know that old saying, build confidence going into the offseason. To me, that's the dumbest thing they say every year. That's just what losing teams say when they win a couple of games that don't mean anything. Oh, it gives us confidence going into the offseason. Yeah, I have never in my life believed that a win in January means a hill of beans come training camp in July, when there'll be 25 new guys here that weren't even here for that game. Trevor banged up in Jacksonville. Does he play? Should he play? DJ Lagway banged up in Gainesville. I still think he's a week or two away, but do you shut him down or do you play him in the last couple of games? Interesting questions for both the Gators and the Jaguars as they begin to play out the stretch of their respective regular seasons. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you, a Wednesday evening in Jacksonville, Florida, and as always, we're glad you are with us. Coming up next, my buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on Primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Let's review the loss in Philly. Let's preview Minnesota. Let's talk about all the issues with the offense. Let's talk about Cam Robinson returning to Jacksonville. And let's do all of that with Leon Searcy next. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
They came together as a team.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Postgame Monday.
It is a game.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and let me tell you, this is the stuff I never thought I'd say. I now weigh 209 pounds thanks to Awaken 180. To put that in perspective, I'm down from a triple XL to a large. My waist has dropped 10 inches from a 48 to a 38. I honestly never thought I'd get to this point. And one of the best parts now is that I get to be so active and play every afternoon with my 5-year-old little Hack. Now, none of this would have been possible without Awaken 180 weight loss. They don't just help you lose weight, they make the impossible possible. We're celebrating this Saturday at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach for a Florida-Texas watch party. Yes, I will be eating, and yes, I'll be drinking. Both are approved while losing weight with Awaken 180. Now, if you're ready for your own transformation, making the impossible possible, do what we all did and choose the solution for weight loss at awaken180weightloss.com. If they did this for me, they can do it for you too.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you, on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Monday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and we'll be honoring those who have served our nation all day and night at String Sports Brewery in Springfield with a free barbecue sandwich, side, and a beer. That's for all veterans and active duty military members anytime on Veterans Day. Plus, our show will be there live from 4 to 6, thanks to our friends at Firewatch, which was created to address veteran suicide prevention, and the Cohen Clinic at Centerstone that offers outpatient mental health for active duty, post 9/11 veterans and military families. So come to Strings on Veterans Day.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time home buyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time home buyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Swammin, when was the last time that you cleaned your air ducts?
Dad, I manage the air duct cleaning at Zero Res. Trust me, my ducts are cleaner than the plates after Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, I hope so, but it's not just you I'm thinking of. Everyone in Jacksonville should get their air ducts cleaned before the holidays.
You're right. Even though we don't blast the heat like up north, we still trap dust and allergens when the windows stay shut. All that gunk just recirculates through your home and makes your air quality worse.
So you're saying Zero Res air duct cleaning keeps my air fresh and ready for my holiday guests?
Exactly. Clean ducts means cleaner air, just in time for Thanksgiving. Plus, we've got a November special running right now. Call Zero Res today and we'll give you $50 off. No more dust, just fresh, clean air for you and your family this holiday season.
Sounds good, son. Now, how about that family discount?
We'll see, Dad.
Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com or call now. Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
The holidays are just around the corner, and so is your entire family.
Babe, the toilet's growling at me again.
Uh-oh, the kitchen sink just turned into Old Faithful. There's no hot water!
Don't let plumbing chaos steal your holiday cheer. Call Duck Duck Rooter today to fix those issues before Aunt Linda blames you for ruining Christmas dinner. Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing pros. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club is an attractive destination for golfers all over the Southeast. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that will test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time at hiddenhillsgc.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Vikings come up Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. The Jaguars 2-7, coming off just another gut-wrenching loss in Philadelphia. As once again, we feel like we say this almost every week, they try to right the ship against a good Minnesota Viking football team. With that, we welcome in the former Pro Bowler for the Jacksonville Jaguars, my buddy Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Primetime, and you get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how we doing, man?
I'm good, bro.
All right, you and I spoke on the fifth quarter. We haven't spoke since. It's been a couple of days. I don't think it's gotten any better for me. I'm curious for you, 2-7. Leon, kind of where are you with this team now, knowing there are still 8 games to go in the regular season?
Well, I mean, Hank, it's clearly the season of disappointment with all the talent that we have on this team. To see them to underperform and be underwhelming throughout the midway point of this season is definitely disappointing. But the one thing about the NFL is no matter how bad you are, you're always given another opportunity. That's what another game is. It's another opportunity. And for whatever reason, this team for back-to-back games has just started slow for whatever reason. And they need to find a way to rectify that. I mean, you can give them a check mark for the last 2 weeks in the second half, making a game out of it. But, I mean, making a game out of it doesn't amount to a hill of beans when you come up with the L. So this team has got to figure out a way how to start the game right and finish the game right and come away with a victory somehow.
Leon, you played 11 years in the National Football League. Last week, the Jaguars had 36 yards of offense with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. They got their second first down of the game at about the 8.5-minute mark of the third quarter. In your 11 years or any time since then, can you ever remember ineptitude to that level for any NFL team?
Never had. Never. And I played 11 years. I've never seen bad ball that bad from last week. You're talking about a team that had more turnovers than first downs. You're talking about a team 31 yards by half. I mean, you're talking about a dysfunctional offense at best. And I'm being generous calling them dysfunctional. And then the craziest part about the hack is the fact that when they in the middle of the third quarter, when they started not 2 minute, but hurry up, giving Trevor the opportunity to make his own calls and check downs and all that kind of stuff, they went right down the field and scored. So that tells me if you're a coach, I don't care what kind of script you have, you've got to play to the strength of your players. And if that means coming out and hurry up to start the game, then you do it. You do it. You got to do what's best for the team and the organization and your players. And sometimes, listen, I'm not telling them how to run their business, but I'm telling you that if it's not working, you got to do something to fix it, or you're going to compete. Insanity, what's the definition of insanity? Doing things over and over again and expecting different results. That's what this team is. They've got to figure out somehow to get this offense going.
And they've lost 5 of their 7 games literally in the final minute of action this year. Former Jaguar Pro Bowler offensive tackle Leon Searcy here with us on Hacker After Dark. Leon, I agree that Trevor appears to be better in the up-tempo, hurry-up style offense, but here's my question to that, and I brought this up with you briefly on the 5th quarter, but, talking to people that cover the league on a local, regional, and even national basis, you hear a lot that, well, Trevor's better when he doesn't have to think, right? Trevor's better at just reacting. Well, okay, that may very well be true, and I'm not disputing that. But if that is the case, then the Jacksonville Jaguars gave $250 million to a quarterback who analysts believe is, quote, better when he doesn't have to think. I mean, is that not a little bit of an indictment on Trevor if that's really true?
Of course. It means that Trevor's better on the playground than he is in the classroom. That's what that literally means. That is an indictment on Trevor. He's better on the playground than he is in the classroom. So, and listen, I'm not attacking his intellect of any. I'm not attacking his football IQ. But what I'm saying is Trevor seems to be a little bit more reactionary to the game than very thoughtful of the game. And take that as you may. But yeah, you gave a boatload of money to a player who's reactionary and not very thought-provoking. So that's on them. Because you had to have known that when you drafted him, number 1 overall, or you didn't do your due diligence and you saw his talent as a plus and maybe his acronym not as much.
Leon, that gets me to play calling next. Look, I don't think we need to harp on the wheel route of the 3rd-string running back. That's certainly been brought up enough here in the last couple of days. I want to focus on Brian Thomas Jr. Now, again, I'm just a media guy that sits on the couch and gets lucky enough to talk into a microphone on a daily basis here on 1010XL. You're the guy that played for 11 years. But all week I've heard about how Philadelphia slanted coverage to Brian Thomas Jr., and there was cloud coverage, and they did this, that, and the other. And that's all probably true. I don't doubt that. I think that all has merit. But at the end of the day, man, when Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguar offense, Trevor threw it 31 times. He scrambled out of the pocket 3 times. So they called 34 pass plays on Sunday. Those were design plays, 34 of them. And for only 4 of those 34 to be targeted to Brian Thomas Jr., is that not on the coaching staff? If you know Philadelphia is doing something to, quote, cloud coverage or shade Brian Thomas Jr., well, then, man, don't you get a paycheck to put him in a position where they can't do that, or put him in a position in motion, something to have some opportunities down the field? He has got to get more targets than that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes, anytime Tramble and Brian Thomas Jr. get the same targets, that's a travesty. Nothing against Tramble, training camp Tramble. But I'm saying, BTJ, you got to find a way to get that man the ball. I don't care about no double coverage. I don't care about no cloud. I don't care about no rain coverage. He's the best guy on the field. And you do whatever you need to do to motion him, to create separation to where you can get him one-on-one in a situation where he gets the ball. He's your best player on the offense, yes, over Trevor. He's your best player on offense, and you find a way to get the ball. And not only the coaching staff, and I said this on the 5th quarter, I blame Brian Thomas Jr. as well. I blame him because at some particular point, you got to know you're the man. He was 1st-round pick overall. You're making all these elite plays leading up to the game. and touchdowns and yards and all that. At some particular time, and I know everybody says he's a soft smoke and doesn't say much or whatever, but at some particular time, you've got to go up to the offensive coordinator, Trevor Lawrence, whoever the hell you need to talk to, and say, "Get me the damn ball. This guy can't cover me. I'm gonna beat this double team. Let's run." You got to tell him what routes you like, to where you feel that you can get open. You got to do that. You got to be assertive. I mean, if you're tired of losing, you got to figure out a way to get your voice heard in that meeting room.
Now, I remember you said that on the fifth quarter, and you're certainly the guy to ask because you lived this life for over a decade. Can you do that 8 or 9 games into your rookie season? Do you have that kind of clout?
Absolutely, you can. You absolutely can. You know, especially if you're tired of losing, if you know that you can help this team win ball games, and you figure out a way to get your point across to that offensive staff that I need the ball. This guy can't cover me. I can beat him on this route, because you run enough routes to know if you're getting open or not as a wide receiver. And you need to go there and say, "Hey, coach, he can't cover me on this. He can't cover me on this slant or this deep crosser or this curl or this stutter and go or this comeback or this back shoulder," whatever it may be. A player knows when he's got another player. So he's got to be assertive enough to say, and listen, don't get me wrong now. I mean, I played with 2 of the all-time greats, and they weren't a rookie. But when Jimmy and Keenan felt like they were beating somebody, they come to the sideline and say, "Hey, coach, I got him on this. I got him on that." And don't get me wrong, Keenan and them was seasoned vets, but I'm just saying that kind of demeanor you want on your field. And he's a rookie, but he's been in this game long. He's midway through the season. He should be. And if you're tired of losing, then you got to step up and say, "Hey, coach, hey, get me the damn ball."
Final moments of former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leon Searcy. Leon, to your specialty, the offensive line. I feel horrible for Cooper Hodges, man. I mean, that just sucks. He worked so hard to come back from the injury his rookie year, gets out there for his first career start, and then another awful injury. That is just the brutal part of the NFL. But your thoughts not only on Cooper's injury, but on the performance of the offensive line last week?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sad for Cooper Hodges because, you know, he's a hometown kid that probably grew up loving the Jaguars, played here in Jacksonville, and then to get drafted by the hometown team. And he's a try-hard kid. You know, he tries hard. Even when he got injured a year ago, and to come back and to make his very first start, and then to get hurt, man, that's horrible, especially early on in his career. Now, if he had been a veteran that had played a while, then you kind of figure, you know, his time is up. But I don't know how much more time he may have, because you're talking about 2 devastating injuries within the first 2 years of his career. So I hope he comes back, and I hope a team gives him a try. I mean, because he's too young to not live a long NFL life. As far as the offensive line goes, man, I think for the most part, with the makeshift offensive line that they were dealing with, outside of Walker Little just getting mud stomped and ran over.
I told you this on the fifth quarter. I told Little Hack, I said when that play happened, that would be like Daddy trying to block Mr. Leon. That same exact thing. You would have just run me over just like Josh Sweat ran Walker Little over.
Listen, when that happened, I swear I asked somebody, "Hey, man, y'all got Cam Robinson's number. We need to call him back," because that was terrible. But listen, outside of that play, I think because of the makeshift offensive line that we had to deal with interchangeable parts, and the Eagles brought the house, man. They ran a lot of stunts, TE stunts, ET stunts. They brought a lot of blitz packages at us because they knew what our situation was. And I think the offensive line held up for the most part. I wouldn't give them an A, I wouldn't give them a B, but I would give them a strong C+. I mean, because they were bringing cross dogs, and they were bringing TE stunts, and they were 3-man stunts and 2-man. It was crazy, and I was like, man, they handled it pretty. I think Trevor may have gotten sacked in that game twice when they probably had an opportunity to get about 6 or 7. So for the most part, I think the offensive line held this own, but we've got some issues moving forward because we got a lot of hurt men up front.
Yeah, I think 8 guys played against Philadelphia, 8 offensive linemen. I agree with you. I think under those circumstances, you couldn't have asked for a much better effort for the most part from the offensive line. Leon, final question. Minnesota comes in on Sunday. That's going to be tough, obviously. They're one of the better teams in the NFC. They got one of the best players in the league in Justin Jefferson. But it's an interesting dynamic because Cam Robinson, who was literally a Jaguar 2 weeks ago, is not only coming back in another uniform, but will be the starting left tackle for the Minnesota Vikings here at Everbank Stadium on Sunday. Level of motivation that you believe Cam Robinson will have after getting benched here and now being the starter in Minnesota?
Well, of course, he's going to want to beat him. He's going to want to beat his former team that traded him. It's going to be a tough task because, I've seen Cam Robertson and I've seen Josh Allen in training camp. And Josh usually gets the better of him. Quick inside moves, double moves, bull rushes. It's going to be, and you got to remember too, he's going to be playing on the road. So I don't know what kind of crowd we're going to have because the Vikings don't travel well. And I think the Jaguar fans are literally upset with this team. So I'm not sure what kind of capacity we're going to have in the stadium. But I'm hoping that we have some crowd noise and makes it difficult for him to hear and in his pass sets, and maybe we can take advantage of that. But the Vikings are clearly the better team. They're absolutely clearly the better team. I think that we're initially playing them okay, but I think that when it's all said and done, I think the Vikings are going to take this. We're going to end up being 2-8 when it's all said and done.
Of course, you'll hear that game on 1010XL Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Jaguars and the Vikings, 2 hours after the game concludes. You'll have myself, the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy, and the head coach Dave Campo. Island Girls Cigar Bar for the 5th quarter. Again, we should get underway right about 6 o'clock Sunday evening for the 5th quarter after the Jaguars and the Vikings game. Leon, invite the folks out to Island Girls Cigar Bar over there on Gate Parkway.
Yeah, come on through. Great environment, great atmosphere. Never a bad seat, good smokes, good bar, good barmaids, good bartenders. And if you come through and buy a box of the Big Sur's or Little Sir cigars, I'll give you an autographed cigar box with the cigars in them, and I'll give you a nice, handsome picture of myself.
I know some Jaguar fans took advantage of that a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure some more will this Sunday. Again, Island Girls Cigar Bar, Gate Parkway for the 5th quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Vikings go final. Leon, enjoy the rest of your week, pal. I'll see you Sunday night at Island Girls Cigar Bar.
You got it, bro.
In every game, there's a guy who just makes plays.
He's their best home run hitter, an elusive generational type back.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game. Experience the universal difference on 1010XL.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? Well, what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin that ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tad that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Blue here for the Blue Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Julington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
The Jaguars are facing off against the Minnesota Vikings Sunday, November 10th for the Jags Salute to Service game. See the Shell White alternative helmets in action for the first time and join us in honoring our military all game long. Kickoff is 1 p.m. Don't miss this matchup and lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. And if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
He used to catch passes for Spurrier.
Oh, my! What a great catch in the corner!
Now he throws opinions at Napier. Chris Doring, Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah on 1010XL.
Total Wine & More is having a Taste of Town November 8th and 9th from noon to 6 both days. Enjoy great liquor brands, craft beer, and more. Brackish Vodka is excited to announce 6 additional flavors, and all can be sampled and purchased at the Total Wine & More Taste of Town November 8th and 9th. Come to Total Wine at the Town Center and sample great local brands. Brackish Vodka is a proud partner of the Jaguars and proud to be supporting the Taste of Town.
If you're like most Americans, you have a ton of credit card debt and you're paying insane interest rates on that debt every month. Same for car loans and personal loans. Stop getting ripped off. Let Loan Pronto consolidate that debt for you at a significantly lower rate using the equity in your home. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit can get you up to $500,000. So you can consolidate your debt in as fast as 5 days. Their average client saves over $1,000 every month by doing this. Right now is the best time to act. With an Express Equity Line of Credit, you can access up to 90% of your home's equity, usually without an appraisal. Don't put it off. Get your financial house in order for the new year and call Loan Pronto now to see what you can save. It's a free quote and there's no credit pull, unlike the other guys. Call now, 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
14 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. More Jaguar talk coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. A little college basketball talk coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Florida starts off with a victory. UNF, a big upset over South Carolina. We'll talk about all of it with Mark Wise of ESPN. That comes up in about 40 minutes or so. As far as college football, coming up this Saturday, you know, it's an interesting week in the state. I talked earlier about Florida going to Texas, Florida State going to Notre Dame, and we'll obviously spend some more time there. But Miami goes to Georgia Tech. And if you think about how great the Miami year has been to this point, it's been great, right? They're undefeated. 3 more wins, and I don't think it matters what they do in the ACC championship game. They'll find themselves in the playoff. But yet, despite how great this year has been, when you think about the tenure of Mario Cristobal in South Florida, inevitably, the one thing that'll jump right to mind is the Georgia Tech game last year. Remember where all they had to do was take a knee and the game was over? And for some reason, they inexplicably ran the football when they didn't need to. They fumbled the ball. Georgia Tech recovered and then drove it down and scored as basically time expired to win the game. One of the worst losses you'll ever see a functional football team have is what Miami did to Georgia Tech last year. And the reason I bring that up is Miami goes to Atlanta on Saturday to play that same Georgia Tech football team. An interesting game, right? Miami trying to exorcise the demons from what was just a horrific moment in Miami football history 1 year ago. So you got Miami going to Georgia Tech. You got Florida State going to Notre Dame. I brought this up last night. With the possible exception of the second half against SMU, I thought last week Florida State, North Carolina was probably the first time, at least for an entire game, that you could give me the argument that Florida State looked pretty disinterested in being there. They didn't have a lot of fire, a lot of passion, it looked like, in being in that game. Now, did they quit? I don't know. That's a bad word to use. They just were manhandled by an average as the day is long North Carolina football team who, by all intents and purposes, essentially has their third-string quarterback playing right now as well. 35-11 at Doak Campbell to fall to 1-8. Florida State, first time they're 1-8 in over 50 years. Ugh, man. 26-point dogs are the Florida State Seminoles Saturday night in South Bend against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And I don't think Notre Dame's anything great. I mean, they lost at home to Northern Illinois, for crying out loud. I just think Florida State is just desperately trying to get to the finish line to try to forget about this 24th season entirely. The worst season for Florida State football that I can ever remember in my lifetime. And I'm 41 years old. Other games that are interesting, Georgia, Ole Miss. Boy, that's a good one, right? Georgia's got Ole Miss and Tennessee in the next couple of weeks. They cannot lose both of them. They might be able to lose one and still make the playoff. They can't lose both. They got to win one of them. And Georgia's got to go to Oxford. Now, Ole Miss, this is their season. Their playoff has already begun. They can't lose another game. If Ole Miss loses another game, they're going to be eliminated from the playoff. That's a scary situation for the Dogs. They have to go to Oxford against a desperate team that knows they can't lose if they have playoff aspirations. Jackson Dart's a good quarterback. They got a pretty good defense at Ole Miss. The way Carson Beck's been playing, I don't know. I tend to like the Dogs in the game, but that's a scary game to go into at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has already lost a home game this year. You wouldn't expect they would lose 2 home games in the same year. That's a good game, 3:30 ABC on Saturday. I like that one. And the game of the week, probably in the country, certainly in our area, you want to talk about a playoff game. Well, you got one in Baton Rouge. 2-loss Alabama, 2-loss LSU. Loser has their third loss and is probably done when it comes to playoff talk. That's what's great about this 12-team playoff, man. Now, if we had a 4-team playoff, like we have in years past, 2-loss Alabama, 2-loss LSU, both teams might already be out of contention. Not this one. Winner is still very much alive. The loser is eliminated. So there is a ton on the line Saturday night in Baton Rouge between Alabama and LSU. And that brings me to Florida. We'll do more on the Gators and the Longhorns tomorrow and Friday here on Hacker After Dark. But just a quick thought. I'm very high on what Billy Napier has done the last couple of games. The team has showed some fight. The team is playing hard. The team is competing. It's hard to argue with the effort this team is showing. Now, if they go to Austin, no one expects them to win. You don't expect them to win. I don't expect them to win. No one honestly expects Florida with a third-string quarterback to go into Austin and defeat the Texas Longhorns. I mean, let's get real. But you also don't want them to lose 48-10 either. If they lose 48-10, that kind of erases some of the credibility maybe they had in that close loss to Tennessee and the close loss to Georgia. Play hard, play smart, play clean, battle. And if at the end of the day you come up a touchdown or two short, well, there's no shame in that. At the end of the day, if it's 31-17, 37-24, there's no shame in that. What you can't have is 48-10. What you can't have is reminiscent of what you had against Miami and against Texas A&M earlier in the year. I think Florida's over that, despite all the injuries, and there are a ton of injuries. This team plays their tail off, man, and I believe that will continue. Unlike what I saw from Florida State last week, the Gators have shown fight. They have shown resolve. Will it continue? I believe it will. It certainly needs to with Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss, the next three. Tough slate. Tough slate. But all in all, man, it's a good Saturday of college football. There's no doubt about it. I'll actually be out at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Saturday for the Florida-Texas game. Hope you guys can come on out and awaken 180, 100-pound loss celebration party. Should be a good time. We're going to be registering people to join me at the table. You can do that on the text line. You can hear commercials as to how to register to do that. But nice triple header. You got Florida, Texas at noon. You got Georgia, Ole Miss at 3:30. And then, of course, you got the big one, Alabama, LSU on Saturday night, along with Florida State and Notre Dame on Saturday night. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Here on Hacker After Dark, we'll take you up till 10 o'clock, and we're certainly glad, Jacksonville, you're spending part of your Wednesday evening with us. Coming up next, back into the Jaguars, back into the loss to Philadelphia, looking ahead to Minnesota, and just kind of an overview, man. Where are we at 2-7? Is there any way out of this hole, or is the hay in the barn? The season's lost already, despite the fact that you're just past the halfway point. You still have 8 games to go here in 2024. Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Always enjoy catching up with Jordan. He joins me next. Hacker After Dark rolls on Wednesday night, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Every team has bumps and bruises, but a major injury can shake the season.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorney's Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville.
On 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, an equal opportunity employer.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
Picking here with a message from Zero Res. You gotta just love this time of the year as we reflect on the things that matter most. Families, homes, the holidays, and of course football. They're very grateful for you all, the good people of Jacksonville, and they want to thank you. So get ready for the holidays. Book today and Zero Res will clean your carpets for only $49 a room. Plus they'll give you 25% off your tile cleaning. This one fills up fast, so book now on both carpet and tile. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at MacKenziesRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. MacKenziesRun.org.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Hacker here, and guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds $10 off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com, and let's get it done.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars fall to Philadelphia. And just another heartbreaker. I mean, what else really needs to be said? 28-23 up in Philly. The Jaguars are now 2-7 on the year. If the NFL draft were held today, they'd be picking number 2 overall. Just disastrous is a good word to describe this season for the Jaguars. Minnesota comes in on Sunday. And I guess the question with 8 games to go is, where do the Jaguars go from here? Let's talk about it with my buddy Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jordan, how are you, man?
You know, it's got to be about as somber as it can be right now.
It's unreal. It's unreal. You and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, and they just can't get out of their own way. I mean, they battle and they fight, and that's all fine and well, Jordan. And we had people calling up on the 5th quarter talking about the fight this team has, and I don't disagree with that. But that's high school and college talk, man. The NFL, like Leon Searcy said, it's a down to business league. You either win or you lose. And the Jaguars have lost 7 out of 9, 5 in the final minute of the game. Just what a start to this season, man.
Yeah, and you say 7 out of 9 too, but I think when you have this much difficulty, you can also take it back to the season before where they lost whatever it was, 6 out of 7 to finish. So that's an unbelievably almost calendar year now of poor play for this Jacksonville. I mean, beyond poor play. Like, close does not count in the NFL. Every team should be close for the most part, right? This is a league of parity. It's going to be close more often than not, but there's too many issues bogging the Jaguars down for them to get over the top in a lot of these games. And it's not just coaching. It's not just personnel issues. It's not just players making mistakes. It's everything. And so I think the sooner you can get a clean slate here and find a leadership group that has the same unified vision, the better.
There are so many branches to talk about, but let's start with just the record, 2-7. This is not a 2-7 football team, Jordan. Now, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team by any stretch of the imagination, but this team's better than 2-7, and they've lost 5 games in, quite frankly, miraculous fashion in the final minute of 5 different occasions this season. I mean, that comes down to coaching, execution. What do you put your finger on? Just not knowing how to win games? I mean, it's been a disaster for the most part in these close games.
Yeah, to me, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is because I think there are so many issues that start at the top with, again, the leadership we just mentioned. But just from a coaching perspective, just from an in-game coaching perspective, I do strongly believe there's been a lot of big mistakes on both sides of the ball late in games. I talked about it after week 1, during week 1 when it was happening. In the fourth quarter, you go into a shell against a high-powered offense that your defense cannot stop at the moment. And you're only up by, 7 points at that time when the Jaguars started to just run the ball every single play. And then you talk about some of the decisions on 4th down that Doug Peterson has made. It cost them against Houston, in my opinion. It should have cost them against New England, but they were just the better team that day. But I still think it was a questionable call to go for a 4th down instead of kicking a field goal to go up 3 scores. And then you see in the final play of this game, right? Final play of the offensive day, and you scheme something up for Dearness Johnson when again, you should be running the ball in that situation, trying to kill clock, because your defense has struggled in key moments all year, right? So there's 1:45 left and you're close to the end zone. I mean, you need to run at least one play to just kill some clock, right? To try to prevent the Eagles from being able to come back and score and get a field goal against you at the end of the game. So again, there's just these in-game management and decision-making questions. And then the play call, the actual play call. Doug Peterson said they designed that for Dearness Johnson. That's baffling to me when you have players like Evan Ingram and Brian Thomas Jr.
Jordan DeLuga, Generation Jaguar, I completely agree with you. And look, I mean, the smartest guy in the room syndrome, quite frankly, I'm tired of that. Trent Baalke gives you a lot of that, but Doug Peterson also gives you a lot of that. And I'm sorry, when you're 3-12 in your last 15, which is what Doug Peterson is here, you're no longer the smartest guy in the room, right? The smug attitude that he has towards some of these questions from the media is rubbing me the wrong way. I'm not sure about you. I know you're in a lot of those press conference settings, but it is fair to question what on earth are you doing? And as you said, a wheel route to Dearness Johnson. And look, best case scenario, right? He catches that ball for a touchdown. Okay, great. There's 1:38 to go. Philadelphia would have driven right down the field. Yeah, Philadelphia would have driven right down the field and kicked a field goal. Football IQ, the awareness, positioning of the game, whatever verbiage you want to use, that has left the brain of the Jacksonville Jaguars in recent weeks.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And you've seen it from Doug Peterson at times throughout his tenure here. Like early on when he first got here, I felt like there was some of that going on where you have to coach to your football. If you have a great football team that is going to make these key moment plays more often than not, you can coach to that. But if you have a team that struggles to make these key plays, then you need to be a little bit more strategic than he has been, in my opinion, with a lot of these decisions. And so beyond the offense being static and not being very modern and progressive and not taking advantage of what defenses give them and all that stuff, the decision-making in game has been pretty atrocious.
Jordan, I do the Friday Night Lights post-game show here on 1010XL, and I love it. I've been doing it now for, 17, 18 years. It's a big part of what we do. But we see a lot of situations on Friday Night Lights where an offense is completely overmatched by a better defense. And you see a lot of high schools that might have 36 total yards in 2.5 quarters. You're not supposed to see that in the National Football League when your quarterback is making $55 million a year and you have first-round draft picks all over the place and free agents all over the place. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars to have 36 yards of total offense with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter of an NFL regular season game is an absolute flipping joke, man. That is an embarrassment to the organization, and it's quite frankly, to me, indefensible. I mean, that was nonsense.
Yeah, and they really had no business being in the game late. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that Saquon Barkley fumble was very questionable at best. Ventrell Miller touched him before he went down, right? So that was a lucky break for them, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the offense, whether it was unimaginative, uncreative, kind of just dated play calling or some of these guys not making plays. Evan Ingram had a couple drops, I believe. Parker Washington was having some issues, whether it being coming down with the football or being in the right spot at the right time, jumping too early for a target down the field. It was incredibly ugly. It really was. And I saw someone tweet out, I can't even remember who it was, Trevor Lawrence's first half stat line. And it's like, okay, well, 3 drops, and then Travis Etienne's drop ends up being an intercept. I mean, how are you supposed to operate and put up successful numbers when that's what you're surrounded with?
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Look, we're really not going to sugarcoat a whole lot this week because it's a disaster in a lot of different areas. Travis Etienne's been terrible this year, right? Is there any other way to describe it?
I agree. And it's bizarre because you've seen him be so explosive and so good in the past. And he hasn't been perfect in the 2022 and 2023. He was not a perfect back, but his explosiveness, his contact balance, his kind of slipperiness, it made up for all those things, right? But right now he's not breaking any tackles. He's not slithering through arm tackles. He's not busting off big runs, and he's making a lot of mistakes as well. So it's a situation where I just think Tank Bigsby needs to be the lead guy, bottom line.
Yesterday, Trevor Lawrence, I believe there were 2 quarterback sneaks. He was credited for 5 runs, so that means he dropped back with the intention to throw the ball 34 times because he scrambled out and like for the 1 touchdown, but that was a design pass, and he actually did throw it 31 times. So we'll say 34. Of those 34 plays that they were going to throw the ball, 4 of them went in the direction of Brian Thomas Jr. And you're more of an analytics guy than I am, Jordan. Truthfully, I've heard a lot about cloud coverage today, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's cloud coverage, tornado coverage, hurricane coverage, partly sunny coverage, whatever coverage you want to describe. I don't care what it is. On what planet, without Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis, do you drop back with the intention to throw the ball 34 times, and on only 4 of those 34 does it go in the direction of Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And if you have a team that's trying to, again, slide extra coverage towards a player, there are ways to try to mitigate that consistently. I mean, moving him in motion across the formation, having him in motion at the snap, these are ways that you can kind of attack that and try to manipulate that. And the Jaguars just aren't doing it enough. And, you know, even if there is decent coverage on Brian Thomas, is that not a better option than many of the guys you were throwing to more than him tonight or last night?
Austin Trammell got 3 targets. Brian Thomas Jr. got 4. Your thoughts on the performance of Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. Real quickly, Parker Washington, why was he not out there on that first punt? I mean,
yeah. No, I agree.
That's another coaching
I
gaff.
agree. Let's bring somebody up off the practice squad and then throw him out there, and you see what happens.
Yeah. So, but to Trevor Lawrence's performance, again, I thought he did the best he could given the circumstances. He made some great throws still in this game. It's difficult to operate in the world that he's living in right now in that offense and with the talent around him. It is really difficult to operate. And then you also have a head coach who, in my opinion, doesn't do nearly enough to support him in front of the media, but, you know, as a play caller, as a offensive guy. Like Doug Peterson was asked last week, are you going to help the defense out at all? He's like, no, I'm an offensive guy. I'm going to let them do their thing. Okay, you're the offensive guy. What's going on that side of the ball that you can't get guys open at all? You look at all these good offenses throughout the league, they are getting guys open. You do not see that in Jacksonville unless it's Brian Thomas Jr. or Evan Ingram just doing something spectacular, right? You don't see guys being schemed wide open over and over and over again like you see with so many of these other good football teams, well-coached offenses.
Final moments, Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. I mean, Minnesota comes in here on Sunday. That Brian Flores defense, I mean, good heavens, what they may do to this Jaguar offense. Then Detroit, then a bye week, then Houston. I mean, they're staring 2-10 in the face. People were talking about, you know, changes that are coming. Look, obviously changes are coming if this continues, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't continue. And I got to tell you something. I thought about this yesterday, and that quote about Shad Khan saying this is the best team they've ever assembled, the fact that that's getting so much coverage and people are talking about it, he's got to be embarrassed by that because the Jaguars arguably are the worst team in the league. I mean, like I said, they'd be picking second in the draft. I think maybe because of that quote, we're going to see wholesale changes. I'm at the point now where I actually do think that we may, for the first time in the tenure of Shad Khan, see the GM and the coaching staff both get blown out at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be the same exact time. Like, I think there's a possibility once they reach the point where they're mathematically eliminated that coaching changes could be made. I don't think that they would fire Trent Baalke during the season, but I do think, as long as this continues, which there's no reason to believe it won't, that you are going to see wholesale changes for the first time. And you just got to hope that Shad Khan gets people to come in here, whether that's like a search firm or whatever it is, to really help him out to find folks that can do the best for this organization. And again, have a unified vision. You have not had that here, right? You haven't had a GM and a coach that came in at the same time, fresh ideas, fresh new look, and again, two guys in lockstep with the vision for this football team.
I'll give you a unified vision. You want to hear a unified vision? I got one for you right now. You call Detroit and you give Ben Johnson a blank check, and if for some reason he says no, you go to Washington and you call Cliff Kingsbury, and you then explain to both of those guys that you're going to bring in a Mike Vrabel or somebody like that to run the defense. That's my unified vision.
Hey, that sounds pretty darn good to me. Love Vrabel on defense. And, I wasn't a big Cliff Kingsbury person or fan prior to this year, but what he's done with Jaden Daniels has been really impressive. Obviously, he's been a head coach in the league, so I don't think that's as exciting as Ben Johnson, who is kind of the hottest name on the market for the last 3 years. If you're somehow able to get him in Jacksonville, that would be a coup. I don't know that that's going to happen. I mean, there's going to be jobs like Dallas and potentially the Giants and Jet. I mean, there's all sorts of higher profile jobs, but you never know. Those jobs don't necessarily have a Trevor Lawrence, so we'll see how it plays out.
Jordan, final question. Do they have a chance on Sunday against Minnesota? I mean, obviously it's the NFL. You got a chance, but you know what I mean. That Minnesota team's awfully good.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they've had a chance in all these games, like as you mentioned, NFL, but like they've been outside of the Bears game, they've been really close for the last month and a half. And so, yeah, they have a chance. I do think that they, in all likelihood, will be outcoached on both sides of the ball. I think Kevin O'Connell will be able to take advantage of what Ryan Nielsen's doing. I think that Brian Flores will be able to kind of dictate his style of play defensively against the Jaguars offense. And so that's obviously not a good recipe. But, yeah, they can. Trevor Lawrence versus Sam Darnold, you can definitely compete. It's possible that maybe they just get lucky down the stretch for once instead of falling apart. Who knows? I'm certainly going to pick the Vikings to win. But, yeah, they do have a chance, and it'll be fun to see. Maybe fun to see Josh Hines-Allen up against Cam Robinson a lot in that one. Cam Robinson got the game ball from the Vikings yesterday, so good for him, right?
Yeah, well, it's just another salt in the wound situation for the Jaguars. Cam will go there, and he'll be great. Just, that always seems to happen. Jordan, tell us about Generation Jaguar, the coverage you guys have heading into the Viking game.
Yeah, over the beginning of the week here, it's hard to keep talking about the same story over and over after these games, so I'm trying to spice it up, keep it fresh. We will be talking about more of those coaching mistakes later today. Certainly get a mock draft out for folks. We've been doing quite a bit of those after losses as of late, so those are just to kind of give you a little bit of a flavor idea of some of these prospects coming in different directions. Whoever's making the decisions could go for the Jaguars, and just give some folks some hope, because there is a core group of players here that you can feel good about. There's a lot of salary cap space. There's a lot of draft capital. There's an owner willing to spend. If they're able to get the right folks in line, they certainly do have an opportunity for a quick turnaround.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan, always appreciate the time. Thank you as always, pal. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hacker.
It's the play that turned hope into victory.
Plenty of time goes downfield, and he's got it complete.
Performance Painting presents the high-performance play of the game.
He is a force to be reckoned with. He's been doing it a long time.
On 1010XL, prepare, protect, preserve.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers. They take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
The holidays are coming, and so is your family. Is your septic system ready?
Honey, why is the yard bubbling?
Dad, the dog's swimming in the septic tank.
That's one way to greet the in-laws.
Don't let a septic disaster be the highlight of your holiday dinner. Call Duck Duck Rooter today and get it fixed before Uncle Bob finds out the hard way. Duck Duck Rooter, your local septic experts. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their Scholar Athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, it's Prosper here, and if you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis, express equity lines of credit. So call now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment till 2025. 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Thousands of people in Duval County suffer from Alzheimer's. To join the Walk to End Alzheimer's at UNF, November 9th, visit alz.org/Jacksonville Walk.
You can make a difference in the lives of people living with lung cancer. To join the American Lung Association at the Lung Force Walk at UNF November 16th, log on to lungforce.org/Jacksonville.
The Farm Share Thanksgiving Distribution Drive-Thru event is Saturday, November 23rd at the FSCJ Downtown Campus, starting at 8:30 a.m. until the food runs out. Call 328-6158.
There's a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating to a local blood donation center.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Little college basketball talk coming up in less than 10 minutes. Mark Wise of ESPN joins me. Florida 1-0 after a victory over South Florida. That game was here in Jacksonville. I think I saw, over 5,000 downtown at the arena for that game, right? Good crowd for the Gators and the Bulls on Monday. You also had UNF going to South Carolina, getting a big win, the first UNF win for head coach Matthew Driscoll over an SEC team as they knock off the Gamecocks. How about that stat I gave last night? 350-plus Division I college basketball head coaching jobs in the country. Only 18 guys have been at their current school longer than Matthew Driscoll has been at UNF. Think about that for a moment. That is longevity at its finest at my alma mater. Very, very cool. No question about it. So Matthew Driscoll of UNF, great win over South Carolina last week, or I guess on Monday, and they actually will have their home opener tomorrow night against Charleston Southern. Denmark, the high school football world is in a little bit of a flux, I guess. Regular seasons are over. The playoffs do not begin until next Friday, so I guess every high school team has essentially a bye this week. What are you guys doing at Baldwin to get ready for the postseason?
We practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, healing up. And bracket was supposed to come out Saturday. FHSA announced today that's going to come out Friday at 6. So we'll at least have a whole weekend to break down film, and I'd much rather have it that way. Now, the reason the FHSAA extended the season, obviously, because of the hurricanes, right? Now, in our area, most teams got their games in. There are very few games that are actually going to take place on Friday. But that's not the case around the state, right? Obviously, on the Gulf Coast and in the North Florida Panhandle area, a lot of games will be played on Friday night because they were flat out missed earlier in the year. Is that correct? Yeah. So I know, like Gadsden County, they had a makeup game with Taylor County, two top teams in 2A. They finished their game on Monday. They finished their season, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of the teams in Tampa area. Now not the FHSAA, but the other one. Was it the SAAA? It's Sunshine something. Yeah, so I call it the Sunshine Conference. West Nassau, Fernandina Beach, Paxson, Christchurch, their playoffs have already begun. In fact, their playoffs began last week. Christchurch is a prime example. They got a big win over Mount Dora. They've advanced to their semifinals of their state playoffs. They got to go down to the Oviedo area and take on a Masters Academy program that's very good. Did you see the stat line for Kyrie Wilson, the running back for Christchurch last Friday? Had a lot of yards. I forget what it was exactly. 303 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's a lot. 303 and 4 touchdowns. He's absolutely incredible. Great running back at Christchurch, and best of luck to the Eagles coming up this Friday night. But I know Fernandina got a big win over West Nassau. A lot of rivalry aspect in that one. A lot of playoff implications as well. Fernandina advances, West Nassau eliminated. So congratulations to Fernandina Beach on a big win last week as well. No Friday Night Lights this week because there are so few high school games. We will have a Hacker After Dark, but we will have a postseason version of the Friday Night Lights post game a week from Friday here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Mark Wise of ESPN, talking a little college hoops, joins me next on a Wednesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Step into another football weekend with Pregame Friday.
You got to go up-tempo with urgency.
Absolutely. Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day.
Are we ready?
Yes. Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Life-changing, life-saving. You know, you hear the other commercial running about the 100-pound celebration. Yeah, we're going to get together at Mr. Chubby's in Ponte Vedra for Florida and Texas this Saturday. to celebrate the fact that I've lost triple digits thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. Absolutely changed my life, man. I don't even recognize who I was or what I was eating 8-9 months ago. It's so different now than the guy that I've turned into. Much happier, much healthier, much more active. Guys, if you need to lose weight and you've been thinking about it, you've been hearing me talk about Awaken 180, what do you got to lose, right? Get involved. Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com. Take it from a guy who's lost 109 pounds on that program. And contact Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T. Now, I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida, it's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it. My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. And just like that, college basketball season is here. Opening night was this past Monday. The Gators, right here in Jacksonville, got a big win over South Florida. And how about my alma mater, UNF, going to Columbia, South Carolina, and knocking off the South Carolina Gamecocks. Let's talk a little college basketball with a college basketball encyclopedia. The man has forgotten more about the game than I'll ever know about. That's my buddy Mark Wise of ESPN, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mark, it's your time of year, man. How are you?
Tucker, I'm doing great, man. And I got to tell you, not having a game last night on opening night was both a beauty and a curse for me. It was a beauty because I didn't have to travel, but it was a curse because I ended up watching about 44 different games. Ask me anything you want to know from coast to coast.
Well, they do a good job with that opening night deal. I mean, I think everybody in the country, or darn near everybody in the country, played on Monday night. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we had, you had a mixed bag in the SEC. You had the Gonzaga routing Baylor really late. The life after Zach Edey for Purdue, who's in a 6-point game with 6 minutes to go. The one thing that stood out to me last night on watching so many different, and I started with the noon game, the Southern Illinois Charleston game that was on the YouTube field of 68. That's where I started my day yesterday. And I saw this in the Florida game, especially early on. I think teams have gotten so consumed with playing so fast that they have kind of thrown shot selection out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And they just feel like they've got to find a shot in the first 10 seconds of a possession. And I get it. You don't want to get into the bottom 10 seconds. I get all that. But, man, were there a lot of bad shots in college hoops last night. And it led to a lot of kind of uneven scores at times.
Well, let's get into Florida, Mark. They were here in Jacksonville. They got a victory over USF, a high-scoring game, 98-83. I guess the defense for Florida left a little bit to be desired. But what did you make of the Gators, a 15-point win over USF? I mean, that's a decent program on opening night.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that USF, maybe they deserve the most courageous team of opening night with what they've gone through in the last couple of weeks, 10 days, to come out and play that well in terms of the circumstances that they have been put through was really remarkable to watch. I go back to this shot selection. I thought shot selection for Florida in the first 10 minutes was so poor. And that's what led to the runouts. I mean, your first line of defense in transition defense is what kind of shot are you getting on the offensive end? And Florida was taking some unforced, jacked up threes that led to runouts. I think they got surprised by USF's quickness. I think they were a quicker team than Florida, and it took Florida a while to catch up to that. Now, in the second half, it was completely different because Florida got a little bit more patient. They got a little bit more determined to beat people off the bounce, get to the rim. I don't even know how many 3-point plays that they had in the second half last night alone. It had to be 6 or 7. So good adjustment in the locker room at halftime, change of pace offensively, and kind of won the game going away. But that score was not indicative of how close that game was.
Conventional thinking, Mark, the return of Walter Clayton, Will Richard, Condon, Howe, I mean, the transfers that came in, People think Florida's going to be pretty good. They were preseason top 25. Do you share that optimism? Do you think the Gators are in for a good year?
Yeah, I think I look at them in the same way that I looked at last year. And remember this, now, replacing Zion Pullen is going to be really difficult. I mean, that dude was really, really good. So they're moving Clayton over to the point. He'll have a transitional phase, and you're going to go, well, Mark, how much of a transition is it? He had 29 last night. He had a lot of those in the second half late. He's going to have to learn how to get shots in a different way because the offense is going to have to come back to him instead of as an off guard, the offense is coming to you. And that'll be a learning phase. I love what Elijah Martin brings to the table in terms of a defensive presence. Now, Todd Golden has made no bones about it. They needed to get better defensively in the offseason. That did not show up last night. Very fortunate that you're minus 24 in three-point differential because USF made 13 and the Gators only made 5. You're not going to win many games that way. But, man, is there a lot of good video to show in practice the next couple of days.
Mark Wise of ESPN here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Mark, when you talk about Florida in relation to where they are in the Southeastern Conference, again, we're very early in the year, obviously, but are they top 5, top 3? Yeah. I mean, where would you have Florida right now, just off the cuff here in the early part of November?
Wow, you're trying to put me on the spot on November 5th? I mean, hey, here's the thing that I would say about this. I had Ole Miss last weekend in their exhibition game against Illinois. Illinois had a great year last year, went to the Elite Eight, but returns almost no one. Ole Miss returns almost everyone. And we're going to have one more year, as you well know, because of football and on the collegiate level as well. We're going to have one more year of good old teams with COVID redo players that are going to beat up on the younger teams. That's just where the life that we're in right now. And I saw that up close in firsthand and when Ole Miss waxed what is a very young but talented Illinois team. So from that standpoint, if you don't have some older guys, you're going to have trouble on most nights. And I think Florida has got a good mix of older guys. It's a roundabout way of me saying Ole Miss is preseason picked 9th in the country, in the SEC. 9th in league play. They're 24th in the country.
Wow. Yeah.
So the SEC this year, I think, is going to be so good. You might beat the 8th best team in the league and be in the top 25 all year.
And to that point, Florida starts number 21 in the conference, or number 21 in the country. And, yeah, I mean, that could easily put them 7 or 8 with that logic, no question about it. One of the teams that's probably not there after opening night is South Carolina. Boy, give it up to my guys, Mark, the Fighting Ospreys of UNF. I'm a proud alum.
Matt Driscoll?
Yeah, I had Matt Driscoll on earlier in the week to talk about it. He was all fired up. How about this about Matt Driscoll? I'm sure you know this. 350 some odd Division I jobs in college basketball. There are only 18 coaches currently that have been at their current jobs, longer than Matthew Driscoll has been here in Jacksonville with the Ospreys.
Wow.
Terrific longevity.
Yeah, no question about it. In a profession that doesn't really promote longevity. I'm not really that shocked for 2 reasons. UNF did UNF things, meaning they made 10 threes. Of course they make 10 threes. They make 10 threes, I think, in the first 5 minutes of warm-ups. But Matt Driscoll has always ran that kind of offense, 5 out, kind of a little bit ahead of the curve, if you will, because everybody runs 5 out now. The part that did surprise me was UNF out-rebounded South Carolina. But I want to go back to this point that I made earlier about other teams. South Carolina is trying to replace Michie Johnson, who's gone a double-figure scorer, who's gone back to Ohio State. B.J. Mack was a COVID guy who got a 5th year, played great for them last year. Talon Cooper was a 6'5" point guard that was just sensational for them last year in that marvelous season that they have. You're just not going to replace those guys overnight with younger talent. It just doesn't work. So from that standpoint, it was probably the most disappointing loss from a league perspective. I get it. I get A&M lost, but they lost at UCF, a Big 12 program. Is that really that big of a shock? Texas lost at home to Ohio State, a Big 10 program. Is that really that big of a shock? So I would say that's the biggest surprise, but with Matt Driscoll at the helm, is it really that big a surprise?
No, and UNF, they think they're going to be pretty good. They were very active in the portal. They got a lot of guys returning. They played a lot of basketball for them last year. You talk about older guys. Well, they got a lot of games of experience under their belt. That's a big win for UNF over South Carolina earlier this week. Final moments with Mark Wise of ESPN. All right, Mark, everybody's talking about this young man from Duke, Cooper Flagg. We've heard about him for a long time. People are just now being able to see him. Is he worth the hype? Is he as good as advertised?
The answer to that is yes. 6'8", 6'9", really guard skills for a guy his size. His body is almost NBA ready, if I could say that about a young man his age. I don't care what mock draft you look at right now on November 5th. Of the 492 mock drafts that are out there, the number one pick of the draft is Cooper Flagg, and he's that good.
Well, it's certainly another gem for Duke, no question about that. Mark, as we wrap up, I mean, obviously the usuals, right? The Blue Bloods, Duke.
Yeah.
We'll see about Kentucky. That's going to look weird without Calipari, right? That'll be a change. And speaking of that, Arkansas with Calipari. But what's your thought on, the top 3, 4, 5 teams in the country as we open up here? How open is it up top?
Oh gosh, again, when you look at the top, I'm looking dead square. The number one storyline to me in college basketball this year is, can UConn three-peat? I think there's a little bit of a chink in the armor. I don't think the talent is quite as good, quite as old as they have had the last couple of years. And then you take a look at what Kansas is returning, what Alabama is returning, the way Houston plays, the way Gonzaga looked last night. Last year, and I think you did this with me in January, February, and I told you UConn or the field. I'm probably going to take the field, but my gut tells me it's UConn. I would not say that this year. I would take the field. And with that in mind, at the end of the day, there'll still only be, a handful of 8 to 10 teams that are capable of winning it. I think first and foremost, you better have older guys, you better have NBA talent, and go from there.
Well, the road to March Madness is officially underway. The regular season for college basketball is here. Mark, what do your travels look like? When can we see you on the ESPN family of networks?
Well, I am off to what we call a local start. So I have the Gators the next couple of weeks. So I'm not doing any travel. The ESPN schedule is not out beyond Thanksgiving right now. So I did my traveling early going to Ole Miss, and then I'm waiting to see where I go. So the next time we talk, I'll have a much better picture of a schedule for you.
It's your time of year. Mark Wise of ESPN as college basketball is officially underway. Mark, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time as always. We'll talk again soon, pal.
All right, thanks, Hacker.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to Mark Wise of ESPN for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. College basketball season underway. Of course, it began on Monday night. Florida getting the opening night victory over USF. And how about my alma mater? The UNF Ospreys going to Columbia, South Carolina, knocking off the Gamecocks. I believe both Florida and UNF already back in action tomorrow for a little Thursday night hoops. UNF, I know, has their home opener against Charleston Southern. So college basketball in full swing. We love it. And look, all these wins matter, right? All these wins will be resume builders for these teams. These wins now mean just as much as the wins will mean in January and February. So you want to stack some wins up here early in the year. In fact, we had Matthew Driscoll of UNF on last night here on Hacker After Dark. Wanted to get the coach on from my alma mater to congratulate him personally on the first win for Matthew Driscoll and UNF over a Southeastern Conference opponent, which is what they accomplished on Monday night, getting the victory over the South Carolina Gamecocks. Well, that'll just about do it, man. It's been a very, very busy Wednesday night edition here of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Mark Wise of ESPN talking college basketball. The guy is an absolute college basketball encyclopedia. The man has forgotten more about the sport than I'll ever know. He's one of our college basketball guys here on Hacker After Dark, and we always appreciate Mark taking time out for us. Likewise, my buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar stopped by. I always enjoy the conversation with Jordan as we recap the loss to Philadelphia, but began turning the page and looking ahead to Cam Robinson and the Minnesota Vikings coming into Jacksonville. Interesting dynamic there, right? I mean, Cam Robinson was a Jaguar 10 days ago, and now he's going to come in here as the starting left tackle of the Minnesota Vikings. Very, very interesting. Obviously, Minnesota, one of the best teams in the NFC. It's a big game for Minnesota. They need to stack wins. They're in a division with Green Bay, with Detroit, so they can't really afford a loss. So they're going to come in here looking for a victory. And if you're Jacksonville, you're just looking for something positive at this point after getting off to this horrific 2-7 start. So thank you to Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar and my buddy Leon Searcy back in hour number 1, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark, and I'll be joined by Leon and the head coach Dave Campo for the 5th quarter here on 1010XL on Sunday, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Vikings go final up at Island Girls Cigar Bar on Gate Parkway. Really enjoyed catching up with Leon, talking about that dynamic of Cam Robinson returning to Jacksonville and getting Leon's thoughts on both the loss to Philadelphia and what, if anything, the Jaguars can do to get out of this funk moving forward, beginning this Sunday with that game against the Vikings. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will do it all over again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.